Hey there. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Total Ramblings. Something ever so slightly different today. I want to talk about this. This is the Blake 7, The Collection, Series 1 on Blu-ray, and it has 6 discs in it. I have been eagerly anticipating the arrival of this for a couple of months now, since I first heard about it. And if you know me, you know that I love my Doctor Who, and Blake 7 is probably my second favourite sci-fi show. Obviously, I'm biased because I am British, I'm from the UK, and they're both BBC shows, and they were both on when I was a little boy. This is an absolutely fantastic release. So back in the early 90s, they started releasing Blake 7 on VHS, but they were compilations. So each episode was a mishmash of sort of 2 or 3 episodes with lots of heavy cuts and kind of made like a feature film. But that was all we could get at the time. Then they started releasing the entire series, 2 episodes per tape, with newly designed artwork, and they even had a cabinet that you could put them in. And I remember I was living with my grandma at the time, and I was eagerly awaiting the arrival of the next one all the time as my little case gradually filled up. Then they released series 1 to 4 on DVD. And I've got that still. Then they released a box set of series 1 to 4 on DVD, and I bought that because why not? And now we're finally getting to Blu-ray. And this is absolutely beautiful. They've upscaled the images to HD. A lot of TV at the time, there's a mixture of footage that was filmed in the studio on video and some of it on film. And it's quite jarring when you move from one to the other. They've increased the colours in the film, made it much more vivid, and it's not so jarring now. It flows much more seamlessly from video to film. And they've also, you've got optional, completely redone special effects, mostly involving shots of the most gorgeous spaceship ever, the Liberator, DSV-2. But also other sort of minor little things. For example, I didn't even pick up on this. In the first episode, The Way Back, Blake is being sentenced for a whole load of made-up crimes, and there's a screen behind listing the crimes, and they've redone that so it looks more modern, more futuristic, more in fitting with the time that this story is set in. There's other little things as well. So, for example, in the episode Duel, which was directed by Douglas Camfield, there's a lot of location work. I think it's the New Forest. I could be wrong. But they ran out of time. And they had to do sort of composite shots in studio, a couple of shots of Travis and his mutoid pilot in the forest. And essentially you can tell it's been done against a blue screen. They call it green screen these days, but CSO back then tended to be blue, with an image of the forest behind, and it's really obvious. And they've cleaned up shots like that. It looks much better. It's not as obvious that this is a studio insert. You don't have to watch the updated special effects. By default, they're turned off. When you load each disc in, they're turned off. You have to actually go into the special ops features and turn those options on. The title sequence has been tightened up. So there were lots of different shots of the Liberator during Blake 7. A lot of them were sort of done with a single light source, lots of very nice shadow effects of the Liberator sort of in motion or in orbit, and those shots are fantastic. And then what would happen was they had all these stock shots available, and then when individual stories came up to be filmed, the individual directors wanted specific shots of, say, for example, the Liberator turning around in space. And the people who did those particular shots, they weren't model sort of people. And those shots are, the ship is massively overlit. It's blinding. It's totally different sort of feel. And then also, because we're talking about a BBC budget here, they even had sort of 2D animation. So in the Blake 7 opening sequence, you see this most prominently, where there's a shot of the Liberator coming right at the camera, and then it flips and goes away from the camera. Those are 2D pictures, still images of the Liberator. So the title sequence, we now have a 3D Liberator sort of arcing towards you in space and then moving away. And it's really well done. And little things like when the title of the episode comes up, it was an overlay, and you could sometimes see it wobbling in the back. Things like that. It's all tidied up. It's all clean. It's, you know, it's actually beautiful to watch. It is. I can tell there's a real labour of love here, and the special features on here are absolutely outstanding. So I'm just going to read off the list. So all 13 episodes from Series 1. Newly restored for Blu-ray, packaged with special features including new documentaries and rare archival treats. Updated special effects on all 13 episodes. And these effects, they don't take anything away. So like, you know, blaster effects, laser gun effects, that kind of thing. The special effects, the ship miniatures, they've used miniatures. It's not CGI. This is not like the Star Trek TOS remastered stuff from years ago, which again looks fantastic, but that's CGI. This is not CGI. They've used models, right? And other little treats, like for example, when you see Federation Space Command, it's an orbiting wheel somewhere in deep space. Now there are Federation pursuit ships orbiting it, as you would expect, protecting it. And even in one shot, I spotted a Wanderer class ship, which is the same class as the Scorpio from Blake 7 Series 4, painted a different colour, but clearly the same designs, clearly the same class of ship, orbiting Federation Space Command. And then another ship, or it's either the CAS London or a similar class of the Civil Administration ship London coming in. So there's a shot of Saurian Major, the base, and you can see a ship like the Ortega, which is a Galaxy class cruiser. Now you say Galaxy class cruiser now and people think Star Trek Next Generation. This was 10 years before they had a Galaxy class cruiser. It was just like a big sort of colony ship. Anyway, it's little touches like that, right? So there's, you know, when Zen's showing stuff on the screen and there's pictures of the planets, it's just beautiful. Archival documentary, the previously unreleased making of Blake 7, featuring extensive interviews with cast and crew. A new feature-length documentary, which is fantastic. I haven't actually finished watching it. I'm watching it with the episodes I'm watching. A new look back at the making of the first series. You've got Sally Nivette and Jan Chappell, who are Jenna and Callie there with some of the original props. I mean, that's actually quite one of the sad things here. So on the back here, starring Gareth Thomas, he's gone. Paul Darrow, he's gone. Sally Nivette, still with us. Michael Keating, still with us. Jan Chappell, still with us. Jacqueline Pearce, she's gone. David Jackson, he's gone. Stephen Greif, he's gone. And Peter Tuddenham, gone. Most of the people, the stars of this, are dead. They're gone. It's really quite upsetting. We have In Conversation, Matthew Sweet interviews actor Sally Nivette. There's a Stephen Greif tribute, a look at the life and career of the first incarnation of Travis. It's fantastic. Rare convention footage, previously unreleased panels with the cast and crew. Archive treats, BBC continuity, TV coverage and music from the Blake 7 vinyl record. The BBC continuity bits are excellent. So as each episode is sort of about to be shown, there's a still of the Liberator, and the continuity announcer gives you a little update as to what's going on, because this was an ongoing story. This wasn't one of those series where you press the reset button at the end of every episode. There's an ongoing narrative, and that's really cool. Let me see. Archive treats, BBC. Yeah, I've done that one. HD photo galleries with previously unseen images. DVD content, so there's stuff here that was on the original DVD release, featurettes, audio commentaries and more, written archive, production paperwork, scripts, studio floor plans and much more available for the first time. I don't mean to sound like a fanboy, but I am a fanboy. This actually brings tears to my eyes. This is the treatment that Blake Seven has always deserved. Blake Seven first aired in 1978, and the first episode I remember watching was Spacefall, and I would have been 7, maybe 6 actually, because it would have been January 78, so I would have been 6. And I was very upset the next week when my stepfather wouldn't let me watch the next episode. Anyway, so inside we have this lovely image of the Liberator. It's a sort of wraparound image, and we have 6 discs inside. Very colourful. So we've got The Way Back and Spacefall on disc 1, Cygnus Alpha and Time Squad on disc 2, The Web, really creepy episode, I remember that one as a kid, and Seek, Locate, Destroy on disc 3. Mission to Destiny, which I really love as an episode, and I don't know why. It's totally out of place, but it's brilliant. And Duel on disc 4, and that's as far as I've got so far watching these. Project Avalon and Breakdown on disc 5, and then the episodes Bounty, Deliverance and Aurak on disc 6. And inside we've got Blake 7 logo in there. Now I was told that sales of this would dictate whether the other 3 series of Blake 7 are done. I desperately hope they are, because they have done an absolutely amazing, beautiful job on this. It is brilliant. And like Doctor Who, this is a real labour of love with the Doctor Who Blu-rays. This is proper nostalgia viewing for me. There's also, excuse me, let's pick this up. There's also a little booklet inside that you get as well, with a lovely picture of our crew and some Federation soldiers above. So we've got a lovely picture of Servalan inside there. Taking flight, welcome to series 1, and this tells you what's on each disc. So it's not just the episode, there are special features on each disc. Lovely little booklet, really cool. I honestly cannot recommend this box set enough. If you are remotely interested in science fiction, if you are remotely interested in television from the 1970s or the BBC, the way things used to be, you know, I would buy this. And if you are a relatively long-term viewer, you might recall that I also reviewed this book, which is the Blake 7 production diary for Series A. Now, although this is called Series 1 on the spine and on the box, that's really just for public consumption. Blake 7 series were lettered A, B, C and D, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's traditional on sort of box sets to call things, you know, Series 1, Series 2, etc. So they haven't called it Series A, but Series A is the correct nomenclature. And one other thing about this, the redone shots, you actually finally get a proper scale of how big the Liberator was. It's gigantic, and I really appreciate that, and that we've got, you know, consistency in the shots of the ship and the scale of the ship and all that kind of thing. Look, I'm not clever enough to put clips or anything into this video. This is just me burbling on about how much I love Blake 7. But this is a really good... I'm just watching these at the moment for sheer enjoyment. I'm going to watch them again with this production diary in mind, so that I can go through and sort of, you know, understand when each individual kind of shot was made, that kind of thing. And it's just like... It's just utterly... This is utterly fantastic. I cannot rave about it enough. And I have been told that there's a rumour that it sold enough with pre-sales to start Series 2, Series B. But I'm desperate for them to complete the entire series on Blu-ray because of the treatment they've given this. It is beautiful. I opt to have the new special effects on. I would be quite happy to watch it with them off, but with it on, it just gives that extra depth, that extra layer of consistency across the whole show, and it's fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic box set, and I probably ought to stop going on about it now, but it kind of this when I think about all the people who are in this show that are no longer with us, that never got to see Blake Seven given this treatment, that never got to see it this way, it makes me very sad. But this is fantastic. I can't say it enough. Fantastic. Go and buy it. Please go and buy it. Even if you don't like Blake Seven or anything like that, just please go and buy it so they make more. Make me happy. Please, make me happy. Please.